to talk to you in English, but it's okay.
All right. So let's start. So because we have a 3-hour class, but one part of this is for your talk. So I think we can start this conversation, this presentation is going to be recorded. So if somebody arrives later, can repeat the presentation after it. All right. Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. Today with us is Carla Juacaba. I would like to introduce her. She is an architect from Brazil. Since 2000, Carla Juacaba developed her independent practice of architecture and research based in Rio de Janeiro. Her office is currently engaged in both cultural programs and private projects. After graduated, she worked on the Atelier House, Rio Bonito House, Varanda House, Santa Teresa House, and a couple of exhibition designs. The ephemeral Pavilion Humanidade 2012 was conceived with the theater director Bia Lessa and built for the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development in 2012. Carla Juacaba is constantly part of the academic and teaching realms, as well as research studies and lectures. Harvard GSD, Columbia University GSAPP, Accademia di Architettura di Mendrisio, workshop at IUAV di Venezia 2014 and 2020, where she won the Best Studio for the Public Space Projects. Jury at BIAU Bienal Ibero Americana in Madrid 2012 and 2019. She won the first edition of the International Prize Art Vision Woman and Architecture 2013 in Italy, and the first prize of Area Architectural Review Emerging Architecture Award in 2018. She was invited to Venice Architecture Biennale 2018 with the project Ballast, curated by Craftston Architects, and also built one of the Vatican Chapel for the Holy See Pavilion, curated by Francesco Dalco, that is now part of the Italian heritage, and where and everybody who is in Venice could visit it now. Okay, it is open right now, Carla, isn't it?
Thank you.
All
It is
right.
open. It's just open again. Yeah, good.
All right. Okay, Carla, whenever you want.
Okay. Thank you, Javier, for the invitation. It's a
All
pleasure.
right.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'll be presenting a few projects, and we can talk at the end. I will first begin with this picture of the our studio in Mendrisio. The name of the studio is Imaginary Boundaries. We are working in Rio, and this is a sentence that is on the pillar of our studio of ingenious indigenous leader and the writer, Brazilian writer, Ayrton Krenak. It's tapped gently on the ground. It's on the wall of our studio because it's for us to think about our very first action when we when you do a project is to transform. It is a transformation, and it is a geographical transformation of a territory. So we have to be very conscious of that, and that the architecture design is not a drawing or a composition, but it's really, and in fact, an action over a ground, over a territory. So this is what we have in mind there in the studio, and we discuss this very first moment of transforming the ground. And I'm very happy to see the students reacting to this. And so we'll begin with this image of the foundation of the Vatican Chapel, as you know, in Venice, and where Corvalán also did his chapel. And so we can see here the foundations, which is those holes with 20 centimeters. And in a way, the projects I'm going to show, this one, the Pavilion Humanidade, they all have this this care, they all step gently on the ground, I would say. So I will talk about this also in the pavilion, because the pavilion has, Humanidade Pavilion has 9,000 square meters with absolutely no foundation. And I think it was a very interesting aspect for a temporary building. And also this of the chapel that was supposed to be temporary. Fortunately, it's not anymore, but it was supposed to be. And I will present now the chapel. As you know, in the island San Giorgio Maggiore. And I think also Corvalán also received this video that I really appreciate to receive from Francesco. That was, I couldn't go there. Javier could go, but I couldn't go there. And it was a very inspiring, it was a very long process to do the chapel, actually. And I received this, and I think it was very inspiring to see this video of this light coming and going, and to feel this presence of Venice behind this tree, this nature, and the light of Venice. I think it was, well, the project was done after this video, so I think it was really inspiring to receive. And the project is made with 4 beams with 8 meters each, and the cross down. So it's a synthesis of a chapel, because the cross down is a bench, and the standing cross is in fact a cross, and it's a synthesis of a program that you go and sit in the bench to look at the cross. And I think that after the first, it was not a sketch, it was a model that the second decision after the model that was exactly like this was to make this more, even more invisible, with less presence, choosing the material stainless steel, as much as it could be polished. So I think this drawing here is one second. So this is the frontal view, and you can see the inverted cross, which was a decision not because of the St. Peter's cross, that is the inverted cross. It was more a decision because of a configuration of a space. So if this cross was too high, you wouldn't understand this as an architectural space, I think. And I think that I think the project in a way is open to continue. If you're, the nature continues in a way. It is with all the streets around. It is like a dome. So it is something that is open without roof, without walls, but it's open to these surroundings, and the surroundings in a way is a continuity of of this idea of space. So here we can see the details, and it was supposed, as I said, it was supposed to be temporary, and everything was bolded, not welded. Only this You see my mouse? No.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
see.
okay. So this junction was the moment where there was a discussion about this because it was supposed to be removed. So the tables with bolts, as you can see here. I will show this detail. So at the end, it was a discussion to be the only point welded, and it was a process of discussion and convincing. Here you can see all the reinforcement inside the beams, where you can absolutely not see the bolts from any point. They're invisible. This is the detail of the cross. And this is the junction that I'm talking about of the horizontal part with the vertical one that was welded. So the first prototype was this one, which was terrible. And there was a big discussion because how if it's temporary, how are you going to detach this after the... But it was the only moment that this was really a decision to make it bolt, to make it welded. And this is the final prototype. And then during construction, as you can see, this is a detail that Francisco Zappo talks about very carefully because he found a person that did it with a lot of precision and this is a text of a friend of mine in Rio, Ana Luisa Nobre. It's published in Vitruvius. It's in Portuguese. So I really like her text about the chapel, and she does an analogy. The text is, there is also a possible analogy with horse's backbone for the modern cemetery. A body reduces to its bone, purified towards the absolute. I think it's beautiful to see this as bones. No, I never thought of that. I absolutely didn't think. But after she said this, I only see this element that way. But the truth is that I don't find an explanation to use 7 elements, because it could have been 3, for example. And it's just a measure that is needed for this space. And also I heard many times that this is a sculpture, this is an installation, and I absolutely think this is a chapel, because this is architecture, this is a chapel, because there is a program. We go, we sit to look at the cross that is a suffering. So this is as Aldo Rossi says, Aldo Rossi has a beautiful sentence. He says, the theater, like architecture, I don't remember the sentence exactly, but he says the theater, like architecture, is where something's going to happen. So if this is such a good definition, because if you have a program, something is going to happen. Someone is going to go there and see. That's why this is not a sculpture. This is not an installation, and it is important to say that. This is a lovely picture of before the opening, where the Frei Laurent Mazas was there, and it was very nice to see. Very nice to see a priest in love with the chapel, and he's Franciscan, and of course it makes a lot of sense to Franciscan like this chapel. And I'm going to show this object, but it is an installation in Mexico that I do. It was made in 2012, and the chapel was 2018. So I do an association, very abstract association of these objects. As I said in the beginning, this is not an object to be beautiful, because I think it's beautiful because it's made of golden guitar strings, magnets. This is a magnet with 5 centimeters, 5 by 5, glass ball, rubber, in profiles of brass profiles with 1 centimeters by 1 by 1. So this is a very long object where everything's suspended by the force of the magnets, and it's about the strength of the materials and the property of the materials and the beauty of each material. And the object is about that. So returning to the sentence of the beginning and the reflections that I did about our design process and design thinking, there is that it is not a composition it's not a visual composition or a drawing. It is a construction. It is an action. And here, in fact, there is an action of the force of the magnets suspending all this, and apparently with it's an isostatic object that apparently is calm, but has an immense entropy in the object to make this state of suspending and elevated like this. So this is the four situations of the four objects, because it's one next to the other. And this is the plane of the gallery with this glass here, the windows, and this is the entrance. And these are the situations of tension, the magnets on the roof. This is plumb, and the tension to suspend and everything is laid over this rubber here, for example. Nothing is glued. No, everything is laid one thing over the other, and it was very hard to handle this. It was very complex to build this. It looks simple, but it was very complex and very strong. The magnets are very potent, very strong. So they are fragile at the same time. They are like sand, compressed sand. So if they fall down on the ground, they broke. And I invited a physicist and that did this beautiful equation of magnetism, and I think that this is fantastic. But I wanted to know this distance here, d, between these two magnets, and it was 5 centimeters. And I received this after the object was done, and it was exactly 5 centimeters. So it was perfect. Look here, 5 centimeters. But he says that after the end, the conclusion is that this might not match to reality, but it was exactly as reality, and it was interesting. So in a way, the abstract association that I do with the chapel is that these horizontal elements, they have a presence, but at some point they don't have. So they're suspended. They are a draw in the space, like a line, 1 centimeter by 1. The chapel was 12 by 12, and I think this is as an image. It is. I could compare because it's invisible. You see, you don't see, so it's hard to photograph as well, And also, one of the things that I thought would happen in the chapel was that we would see more the shades than the object. It did happen. We see there's a lot of presence at the end, but I thought that this would happen, but it was not really what happened. And now I'm going to show the Pavilion Humanidade that was made in 2012 at the end of this peninsula, at the end of Copacabana Beach. This is Ipanema Beach on this side, and this is Copacabana, and this is the peninsula. It's a military fort. And when we visit the site, there was this scaffolding structure, because any time of the year there's a scaffold structure in Copacabana for events or anything that is happening there. So Bia Lessa was invited to do an exhibition about sustainability inside this plastic tent with air conditioner in front of Copacabana Beach, and she said she wouldn't do it. She would look for an architect to propose a building that makes sense in this context, in this subject. So when I was there, that's what I found, and the proposal was to continue those existing walls. So the existing walls, they had 5 meters high by 170 meters, and I removed the plastic tent on the floor and continue until 25 meter high, and to attend the program that was under construction. during the process of construction, the program was very crazy to do this, because you were constructing and deciding at the same time what was the volumes to be the exhibition, the event of the Rio +20, and then those are the 4 sections of where you can see that at the end there was a subtraction of some walls, so we can have an auditorium for 500 people, this little auditorium that sees the sea, and the other volumes, some of them part of an exhibition design open for the public, and the rest, it was part of the event Rio +20 of the United Nations. So this is what happened. I mean, the process of construction was 5 months, and at the same time, there was not much to think about, because we had 2 types of being, this one for the auditorium and another one with 75 centimeters. So there was not, there was not much, I would say, detailing, but more like a spatial coordinate for these platforms and ramps and I think with time, it was very interesting to see this low density, and then with time, after it was done, the project, it was very much dense at the end, with so much program inside, but from inside it was always transparent and translucent, because you are always there's no roof, and so it rains, so the sun crosses, and you can feel that you are exposed in a way to nature and to our frailty now of men toward this nature, I think. So I think even with all this density, at the end you could continue to feel that you were in a peninsula, windy, sun, rain over you. And this is the Cedric Prize from Palace as a reference that was it's important, of course, because they have similar images, although Cedric Prize did in Portugal he didn't do anything. It was never built. It was unbuilt. It is an unbuilt project. It's amazing how an unbuilt project can be part of our imagination and history but I think I'm bringing this also because I think that at this moment, 1965, Cedric Price was inventing and was constructing at that time an image of the future. This was an image of the future for that moment, that ended in this high-tech thing. And I think the Humanidade Pavilion is an image of the present, because it's a response to local condition, and a building that is totally and 100% recycled, and it didn't affect the ground, and it didn't. And I think it responds to questions of our time differently from Cedric Price. And these are the 7,000 base point, exactly like this. As I have said, there's no detail. It's about working with a system with these wood plaques over the ground with 7,000 base points. And this is the view that already existed when I visit, but covered until this high with the plastic tent. with a platform. So this view already exists, and it was really beautiful to see. And this is under construction before this density. And this is the time lapse. I'm going to show you a bit of. And it was very curious because the building is in the center of Rio. Copacabana is one center, and then no one knew what was happening because the newspapers and there was a movement against this building. So no one knew what was happening. It was in the middle of the most important place of Rio, and before 1 week before the opening, no one knew what was this object doing there. And when it was finally announced in the TV and newspaper that it was open for the public, there was a line of 1 kilometer to visit, and it was interesting to see this as a public space, because it's exactly the point that you walk from the most important beaches, the Copacabana and Ipanema. You just enter, I mean, as a public space, because you enter, you visit the exhibition, and you arrive on this roof that you never been before and never saw this view before. So it's part of the and this is the line of 1 kilometer and also it was free to enter. So, but any event that you are free to enter, there's a huge line. But this one especially was bigger. And these are the side of the public, because there was a side for the public. And this was the small auditorium where small events happen for the public. And this is a very, very nice picture that you see from Ipanema, and you see an object that is in nature. Don't see the city. I think it's very beautiful because of that. And I think there were at that moment there were some museums under construction in Rio, and that's why, for political reasons, they were against this building. And it has nothing to do. It was really ridiculous, but they were against. And what I wanted to say is that there was some people saying, well, this object should stay there. And I thought, this is horrible if it stays there. This is a horrible building if it stays, but a nice building if it's temporary. So I think it's interesting to think that a temporary building could be horrible and ridiculous in this landscape if it stays there, because it affects too much the landscape. And so after that, there was an invitation to build in Brasilia and the Humanidade Pavilion, but the crisis in Brazil began, and nothing happened. But it wouldn't make sense to, as they wanted in the beginning, to put in the middle of Esplanada dos Ministérios in Brasilia. They want to put in the grass in the middle of, and it didn't make sense because the scale of Brasilia, everything is small. Even this immense building is small there. So it gave me time to do some reflections about this project that never happened, and the idea was that I had in mind was to build these are the ministries, and to do one more ministry of the same height, the same size, the same distance between them. And the name would be Ministérios de Todos, Ministry for All. And it is like, in a way, like an object that doesn't affect at all the image of Lúcio Costa's Canhamaia, Brasilia, because it's almost invisible in that sense. There's no design, no, because it's like a ready-made that you copy, and it's part of this landscape as nothing happened. And so it is an imaginary building for Brasilia, an utopic project amid these immense structures of Brasilia. And this is the cathedral, so there's a space here next to the cathedral. And it would be, as an utopic project, a place of public discussions where one could follow the activities of all ministries without any kind of interface with the media, among other actions that are part of the democratic state. Ministry of All is an utopian project, at least for this political moment. And it could be one day a monument to democracy. This is just a thought, and then after that, there was an invitation in Storefront Art and Architecture Gallery of José Esparza to do an intervention in the gallery, and he wanted to mention this project of Brasilia in a way. So we did it in a very. It was on the wall. It was part of the exhibition, but it was a very abstract association with this intervention also on an area that is, because this gallery is too consecrated in New York. They love this gallery. It's of Stephen Hall and Vitor Conti, in a way to unfold this consecrated place was the intention. I don't know, a bit like the intention of intervening in this consecrated area of Brasilia. So I proposed to remove all these concrete panels that are in the facade, but I never thought I would find this. So it is beautiful to find this at the end, no? And it was in partnership with another artist that I removed the facade, and he did a composition with these pieces inside. So it was continued in a way by this artist inside, Marcelo Cidade, that did this composition with the elements that I removed. So that's why the gallery is art and architecture, because they want to invite an artist and architecture to work together. It was not really, it was intermediated by José Esparza, but very well intermediated, I think. And this is a project also in 2018 invited by Grafton, and it didn't happen for many reasons. One of them was the cost of the object, and among other things. And we did at the end a prototypus, and it was to respond to the subject of the Bienal free space. I thought that benches were necessary at the end of the Bienal because we get too tired. So the proposal was to build 3 benches of 30 meters for everyone to lay and stay with navy ropes and with pieces of concrete as a reference to the, I forgot the name of this, it's to contain the water. And it was a composition of 2 pieces that was supposed to be the scale with the cables. It was a very complex process of detailing, but at the end it was only a prototype of the concrete pieces, scale 1 to 3, and it was very interesting to learn about cables that I didn't know about cables, and the strength of these cables. There's an immense horizontal strength, and at the end, this foundation was needed to give I don't know how to say that, to give a forgot. So it is like a foundation to not slide. And at the end, it was not possible. We did the prototypes, and that was destroyed. But I think it was interesting to see the result and as a prototype was in this landscape with this work of Caesar behind. But at the end, it was also a bench because everyone seated and rested there. Yes, and that's it. I could also, Javier, show, I didn't know if there was time, but to show.
Yes, we
There's
have
time.
time.
Okay. So,
Yes, you could do it.
okay, I will show some houses then, because I have here, and I'll begin with this one that is almost done. It is done. She's living there already, but it is not photographed yet. But I have a few images. Varanda House. It's on top of the mountain, and you look at this view. And the facade is like with these pieces of block of clay with 60 centimeters. And it was a facade that protects from the sun, but it has with gaps between these blocks to open to the view. So it was in a way protected, and like an immense toboggan, protecting this and be in the house behind this clay blocks. And this is this roof with almost 2 meters here. This projected roof is to put some points. We're going to use glass to protect from the entrance and the windows, and could be everything glass, but she couldn't do it, so we decided to put only on where you have the entrance, the very open. And I didn't show the plan. So there's so all these houses, they have something in common. None of them are bigger than 180 square meters, or they are all of them small houses. This one has this veranda here between the bedrooms, and these are the last images I have, but I will soon photograph. And these are 3D from the inside, so you can see this. This is the back, and no images more of that. And this is the Santa Teresa House, done in 2000. Done 3 years ago. It ended, I think, something like that. And it has this. It was a long process, this house, because I did a very expensive project in the beginning, and then the second project that is very lightweight with 2 meters of distance between the structure, totally on the ground, because it was less expensive to do like this. And with this, I'll return to this, but this section is very important because you have this more than 40 meters here of this beam in 2 directions of the roof, and this corridor that is like this one that connects everything, connects the bedroom, connects all the parts of the house, like a gallery of light. And so this is the structure. It's 2 meters, and the street is here, so there was no reason to open to this side, and it is totally open to the front of you. And this is the most important part of the house, that I think is this connection, and you open this window here, and it really makes the house fresh because it crossed the window. It works. What doesn't work is this part. This part works because you have the tree, but the other part is more exposed to the sun, and it doesn't work. The idea was to build another tree, but he didn't. So, and this is another one, Casa Varanda in 2007. This one. Also, it is 140 meters with this very beautiful garden that I didn't want to to affect, but at the end, so I want to hide the house, but at the end the house splitted the terrain in two, and also this light was one of the reasons to emphasize this in the presence of the house. I mean, the presence of the light in this house is more important than any other element, I would say. It is an element. You know? In the central part, there is the living room, the bedrooms here, and the light. This is the skylight. So the light has an immense presence on these walls, like a light clock, and the projected roof to protect from the rain. And I don't think this house exists anymore. And it's very open, because I think in a way the garden protects. It's a bit like the chapel, no? That there's a continuity or a protection and of nature around. And this is the very first house I did in front of this river, far away from Rio. The other ones are all inside Rio. And with these two walls of stone with no foundation, the beams are inside the stone wall with 1 meter 10 meters off between the stone. And the light that comes and makes this stone wall warm and this detail is I do think it's a problem, because it's the moment where the beams, where you have an horizontal protection inside here you can see the protection of concrete inside the stone. So this is for me a problem that today I would do differently, like exploding these concretes in a very dirty way, both sides, but not doing like a little bits of stone to hide. So that's what I would do today if I build this house. And in a stair that goes to the roof that no one's used. And the process of construction of this primitive methods of suspending the beam and protecting here, as you can see, the box to build this concrete box inside. And this one, I think I will never see done, but I saw until this moment. It is in the middle of this area of horses, and there was in a way no place to do this house. At the end, I did in the middle of this area, and this is the drawing of since the foundation, and that those are the supporting walls of the house that comes from the ground, and a ring of steering laid in this perimeter like this, and it's too windy so it was a way to do a house that you completely close and protect. And the central part is the living room like this, and you can see the supporting walls. And so I saw until the roof was done. And again, on the roof, there's a cross that, again, have concrete, I don't know why it doesn't change. Concrete bricks that suspend the central, roof. So as you can see here in this picture, this is a collage, no? This is, one second. So this is the cross, and then again I have bricks to suspend the central roof, bricks over the beam to suspend the central roof, like this, like those black lines. And this is a collage of the existing until the moment of that we had the structure and then this wood around, and a 3D because I will never see the done. Yes, and that's it. 1 second. Thank you, Javier, for the invitation. If you 1 second, because it's a problem here.
Yes. Well, no. Thank you very much to you, Carla. I know you have to run out, so I don't know if you have time for just short questions.
Yes, there's 15 minutes still.
From the students or the audience. I don't know if somebody wants to comment or do some question. The microphone and the screen is opened. Well, I can see. I love to. I like very much your presentation, Carla, and it is very interesting to hear from you when you say this. I'm going to do different now from about what you did in the past, about some details. But it seems to be like you are always walking on the border of architecture and other disciplines, and and it's very clear when you say step gently on the ground. And this is I just want to ask you just one question, because the students, I don't know if you it is important to take a risk in the project in architecture. Are you always taking risks?
Yes, I think one of the response to that is the diversity. When you have diversity of response to each situation, that is always related. This is maybe not what there's in common is a perception of the site. For example, Copacabana, the scaffold was there, so let's work with the scaffold. The stone was easier in this area, so to find something that makes sense wherever you are. But so the answers are different.
Okay. Well, just another opportunity. You were you are the last. Your presentation was the last in the lab's talks.
Okay, good news.
So just another opportunity for somebody to wants to ask her a question.
Yes, well, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank for the presentation, because I think your work is beautiful, and the way you use materials, it's also very beautiful. So I just want to thank you for this presentation.
Thank you so much to hear.
Hello. I think I would like to have one quick question. Thank you very much for your presentation. So I was wondering about all of your projects. For me, looks very unique from each other, for example. So I was wondering whether you have your core concern when you approach your projects, or everything you approach differently. So I was wondering whether you have priorities when you approach any projects, things like that. Because for me, all of your projects looks a bit different from each other. So yeah,
that's why when they look different, that's why I think they're always taking a risk. That's why the answer to Javier, because each one has a response to a different condition, context, economic condition, weather, and so all this is related. So how come you can have similar answers to everything? So that's the point, I think. Yes. And yes, I think this is this is the beginning.
Okay, so the context is the main drivers.
And economical condition and weather and nature and ground.
Okay.
Thank you
very much.
Hello, I also would like to have a comment or actually a question. You say in the beginning also that you should step gently on the ground. I think that is a very nice way of seeing it. And I was wondering if you think that it means because I mean through your projects you kind of show that most of them can actually be disassembled again, and the actual
yes, that's true.
Stage of the plot can remain in a way. And I'm writing my thesis, or I want to write a thesis about, in a way, sustainability in general, but with a focus on design for like disassembly. And I have actually also a question considering the one house you said that doesn't exist anymore. And I was wondering if you could explain maybe why it doesn't exist or what happened to it.
I think it was, I didn't see the pictures, but it was entirely transformed by another architect. They removed all the walls, which I think it makes a lot of sense to have the walls because of the slide. And it is, I think today is not even a house, it's a place for games. And it's an annex to another house that is next to this. So it was, someone bought a house next to this one and removed all those walls. And I think it's a place they have for fun, for play games, and it's like that. So they changed the program, they changed the architecture. And,
Okay. Would it be maybe possible for you, because I mean, I really thought that your work was really interesting and actually an inspiration for my thesis, if I could maybe contact you if I have some further questions.
Sure, of course.
Because I'm often running out of literature within this specific topic of reassembling architecture.
Sure, of course. And it is, I mean, but why you're out of, or you're not happy?
Well, yes. I actually would like to make a practical implementation for basically the theoretical part. And I often find that we use very often the meanings of like sustainability to describe something, but then if we look behind the scenes, we see that it's not always the case. And it's about questioning what this really means. No? Yes, exactly. And so I just see I see parallels to what I would like to do. And in that case, it would be maybe very helpful for me if I could contact you.
Sure. You can write me, sure, for sure.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank you. I really appreciate your work, and as well, I admire the self-reflection you have. As well, regarding this almost mega structure that is that you mentioned, that this is almost, it could have been something horrifying, but it's something temporarily. And I think it's really interesting that you are being aware every time regarding the place, the respect, the response with the surrounding and the use by the human condition and the materiality. But I have a question regarding the Vatican Pavilion. But just out of curiosity, is it a steel or is it a chrome plated?
No, it's stainless steel entirely. Yes.
Because yes, yes, it's beautiful detailed when we visited here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I don't have a question, but I would like to also make a comment. I also appreciate when you say that it will be horrifying if it wouldn't be a temporary structure there. And also your response to my colleague that your approach was different because of the different conditions of each context. I appreciate this because, which means that you don't have fear to have a signature, because I feel like nowadays it is something that we face. Some of the architects are repeating themselves just to use their signature. I don't know if signature is correct word to say, their style, let's say, their use of material. So it's not a question, I just appreciate the...
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Carla.
Okay, Carla, I think it was wonderful. Thank you very much for your presentation. Yeah, I hope to see you soon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. No, I can hear you. Yes, I hope so. It's too long, these things.
Yes. And well, and that's it. You are free. You can go to your to your son. Are you going to the school? No, to pick him.
Yes.
And so, thank you very much, and have a nice day. Have a nice day, and nothing more. Just
thank you.
see you around.
See you around. Thank you so much.
Okay.